If we could have commissioners check in. Hello. How are you, John? I'd like to call the Butte-Silver Bowl Council of Commissioners regular meeting for Wednesday, September 21st, 2022 to order. Clerk, could we please have a roll call?
9 present, 3 absent.
9 present, 3 absent. Please note that Commissioner Frederickson, Commissioner Anderson, and Commissioner Mankins are all absent from tonight's meeting. Our prayers go out to Commissioner Anderson as he's going through some serious procedures, and so the prayers go out to him from this body and all of our citizens of Butte. Next, could we do prayer and pledge? Commissioner Sorge.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. Fellow Commissioners, Almighty God, we implore you, look upon us and guide us this night as we make decisions which will greatly affect our community of Butte-Silver Bowl. Direct our thoughts, words, and deeds so that we please you and best serve our fellow citizens. Amen.
Next, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move to approve the minutes of the special meeting that occurred on August 29th, 2022, and our regular meeting minutes from September 7th, 2022. Second. Do we have a second?
Yep. We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yea, 0 nay.
9 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to any items not addressed on the agenda, I don't think we have any tonight, so we'll move on to the Chief Executive's report. I wanted to announce that we have a few different things that are going to go on in the next few days. We have our Affordable Housing Committee that we're going to meet out at the ELC at 5 o'clock tomorrow night, where we're going to start addressing the issues kind of surrounding affordable housing, and we know that there's multiple levels that really we need to start addressing, that, you know, talking about density and where we're going to move to be able to build housing, and also how we can continue to have affordable housing, and then how can we house people that are struggling to obtain housing and keeping rents and stuff in check in our community. So it's a big task, but we're going to get out in front of that and start working to address those issues. On Friday, I'm meeting with a small group at 11:30 out at the Comfort Inn, as we're going to start talking more about the fentanyl issues around Butte-Silver Bowl, the opioid fentanyl. As we all know, you know, the epidemic that we're dealing with locally here is unacceptable. That, I guess that's the only way we can look at it, and we need to do something. And so we're going to take this, tackle this head on, and so we're going to start working to try to figure out a way that we can stem the tide anyhow. I know that there's no immediate solution for any of that currently for ourselves, but we're going to work on that. We also have committed a steering committee for the Resilient Butte group that we've got going forward, working with NCAT and Steve Thompson and Montana Tech. We're working to move forward with that. We've appointed people to that steering committee as we're going on with that. I also wanted to announce that we're up at Basin Creek this last week. We had the Montana Forest Action Council. We had about 25 members up there. We have risen to the top of the Forest Service to deal with mitigation of the fire danger we have up there. They're going through the NEPA process currently, and they should have that done in January or February, and then we should see some real action going on. We have our own grants that we're doing that fire mitigation around the reservoir, and it's pretty impressive to see the work that is being done even currently up there. And so it was fantastic that we got attention of the federal government on that, because it is so critical and important to Butte, the citizens of Butte, and our future for sure. And so it's moving forward. It was eye-opening for a lot of people that had never been up there before, but we had people from all across Montana, Idaho, that were up there visiting the site. And credit goes to Jim Keenan, because really him doing a drone footage of what we saw, and everybody saw that here, really brought the attention to the state and federal governments that really got the attention to that. So I think the Public Works Department and the Water Department and Jim Keenan in particular on his real focus efforts on getting that going. So, lots of things going on. 1923, has impacted our community positively, and then kind of a little bit of a disruption, but it was really good for our community, and they've been great partners and working with people here. And so I just want to kind of say that it's been a good thing for our community, and it's brought people in to take a look at what's going on and stuff, and people are learning about what a great community we live in, and they're coming to see that now, and we get to showcase that. And so maybe it takes a movie sometimes to showcase some of those things, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate the citizens for dealing with the disruptions, because it is a disruption when people are trying to get around the Uptown Butte and stuff like that. So with that, I'll close the Chief Executive's report, and we will move on to public comment on any items that are on the agenda tonight. If you'd like to speak on any item on the agenda, please step forward, state your name, your address, and what item you'll be speaking on. Seeing none, we'll move on to Section 1, bid openings, public hearings, and/or presentations. We have one bid opening tonight, communication number 2022-470. Karen Burns, Community Development Director, requesting Council Commissioners authorization to schedule an RFP opening on September 21st, 2022 for construction management services for the renovation of Butte Rescue Mission warehouse, funded in part by the CDBG CV grant awarded to Butte-Silver. County Attorney Joyce, do we have proof of publication?
Mr. Chief Executive, there is proof of publication, and it does appear to be in order.
Thank you, County Attorney Joyce. Director Burns.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive, members of council. This is an RFP for construction management services, as you stated, related to a community development block grant that's also later on in your agenda tonight with the contract for the state of Montana. This was COVID response dollars that the rescue mission was successful in receiving for $700,000 towards the renovation of the existing warehouse that's on their site. And so these services would be to help design, implement, and work on that construction project. So we have 3 proposals that were turned in response to that. The first one is from Markovich Construction. There will not be a dollar amount associated with these proposals. I'll just go ahead and open them and let you know that we've received a proposal from Markovich Construction. It is just a proposal for services, and then the rescue mission will negotiate with the highest qualified respondent for a contract. Okay. So Markovich Construction has the first one.
And so that they do not require a bid bond, is that correct?
No bid bond.
Okay, so no bid bond is required on these.
The second proposal is from MCM from Great Falls, Montana. There's 3 copies of a proposal from David Sands, Montana Construction Management Services from Great Falls.
Okay.
And the last proposal is from BMY Construction Group, and they are from Missoula, Montana. And there are 2 copies of the proposal in this, and we only required 1, so they've met the minimum. And it's from BMY Construction Incorporated, Eric Bauer from Missoula, Montana.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Burns. Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. Just a question for Karen. I know there's no bid bond required, but are we not to hear what the, they're going to ask for?
Sorry,
Okay,
Commissioner
Their
Shaw.
bid.
sorry,
Their
Commissioner
bid
Shaw,
itself.
Director Burns.
Commissioner Shaw, Mr. Chief Executive, members of council, there is no dollar amount associated with these proposals. These proposals are for construction oversight, management, and help with the design. And so it is qualifications, basically. So the proposals that are submitted back are qualifications of that construction management firm and how they would approach the project with the rescue mission.
Okay, so it's an RFQ instead of an RFP?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions of the commissioners? Okay, Commissioner Shaw. Yep.
Sorry. Okay, I would move to refer these bids back to the Community Development Department and await their response to this body.
We have a motion and a second to refer back to the Community Development Department. Is there anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? I think Commissioner George. There you go. Okay, and would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yea, 0 nay.
9 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Thank you, Karen. Moving on to Section 2 consent agenda, A 1 through 4 and B 1 through 27. Do we have any friendly amendments or segregations? Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I would like to segregate item number 23 in the communications. This is 2022-490.
That's item number 23, communication number 2022-490. Any other segregations? Commissioner Reardon.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. I'd like to do number 17, number 2022-484, please.
Yes, so that's number 17, number 2022-484.
Yes, thank you.
Are there any other friendly amendments or segregations? Seeing none, Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I move to approve the consent agenda A 1 through 4 and B 1 through 27, with the exceptions of item 17, 2022-484, and item 23, 2022-490.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yea, 0 nay.
9 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to item number 17, communication number 2022-484, Lori Baker Patrick, Butte-Silver Boat Treasurer, requesting council commissioners concurrence and authorization for approval of the new allocation to secure rural schools and community self-determination act SRS payments for FFY 2022. Commissioner Reardon.
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher. The reason I segregated this and all that, I think that there would be some other people on the council that would, just exactly what this program is. We really appreciate the hard work you do and all that stuff, but it's just kind of like a learning process, I would say, for all of us. So if you could kind of lay out something for us, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reardon. Lori, if you...
Thank you, Chief Executive Gallagher and members of the council and Commissioner Reardon. This was a learning curve for myself also. The last time that we were able to amend this was in 2013, so it was prior to me taking office. So it was a learning curve for myself. So the SSR is the Secure Rural Schools and Community Self-Determination Act, and they allow this money through this act for us to designate for our roads and our schools, which is our Section 1. Section 2 of that is for special projects, so it's for roads, trails, infrastructure, soil production improvement, things like that. And that's what we had it allocated for the last time. And as Director Gleason and I were going through this training, we decided to allocate the 15% to Title III, which are county funds, which would be able to be allocated for fire-wise community programs, reimbursement for emergency services, firefighting and law enforcement patrols on federal land paid by the county, development for community fire protection plans, training costs and equipment purchases related to emergency services. So just like our watershed for the Basin Creek, so we thought that would be a really good place to allocate those funds.
Thank you, Lori. Any other questions of commissioners? No? Seeing none, Commissioner Reardon.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to recommend that communication number 2022-484 be placed on file. Thank you. Concurred and placed on file. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to concur and place on file. Is there anything else on the question? Seeing none, could commissioners please vote? Thank you. And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yeas, 0 nay.
9 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to item number 23, communication number 2022-490, Ed Lester, Butte-Silver Sheriff, requesting council commissioners concurrence for the positions of lieutenant and sergeant in the Butte-Silver Law Enforcement Department. I respectfully ask that you concur with me in the promotions of these officers. Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I spoke with Sheriff Lester today. He is unable to attend tonight. His son has the COVID, and he knew that he could be a carrier, so he decided he would be best not to, it'd be prudent not to come tonight to the meeting. But he asked if we could still concur with the promotions, so we can get that done tonight, and then just move this communication to the committee of the whole, because he would like to formally introduce all of the officers that are changing their positions and moving up in the ranks. So that's basically it. Unless somebody has questions, I will do so. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Shaw. I talked to Ed as well, and it, you know, he wants to recognize these guys formally in front of him, but he wanted to introduce them himself as the leader of that department. So respectfully, I think this is a request we should adhere to. Okay. So Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move to concur with the sheriff's request to have us approve the promotions of the officers, but to move this also to the committee of the whole so that he can introduce the officers in person.
So is the motion to concur and place on file?
No, to concur with his request
Okay.
to promote the officers, which happens right now.
All right.
But then
And
we'll
then,
move this
and then move it
communication
to the committee of the
so he
whole.
can make a
Right, my
formal
fault.
introduction.
So the motion is to concur and then to move to the committee of the whole to introduce. And a second. Is there anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote?
Does that make sense?
Yep. And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yeas, 0 nay.
9 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to section 3, ordinances and resolutions introduced to judiciary. We have one, resolution number 2022-70, please note. Moving on to section 4, ordinances and resolutions for final passage. We have 3, I believe. Let me make sure. 4. We have 4 of them. First one's resolution number 2022-65. Clerk, please read the caption.
A resolution authorizing the sole source purchase of Neptune meters for the City County of Butte-Silver Water Utility Division and providing for an effective date herein.
Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move to place Resolution 2022-65 on final reading, having been, and passed, having been deemed fully read at length.
We have a motion and a second to place on final reading. Is there anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? Would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yea, 0 nay.
9 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to resolution number 2022-66. Clerk, please read the caption.
A resolution authorizing and approving the sale by the city and county of Butte-Silver Bow of the real property described as newly created Lot 14B on Certificate of Survey located in Section 13, Township 3, North, Range 8 West, PMM, with the city county of Butte-Silver Bow, Montana, to Elizabeth Jean Warner and Cassandra Lynn Carpio as joint tenants in accordance with the provisions of the Butte-Silver Bow Municipal Code and providing for an effective date herein.
Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. At this time, I move to place Council Resolution 2022-66 on final reading and passed, having been deemed fully read at length.
We have a motion and a second to place on final reading. Is there anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yea, 0 nay.
9 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to resolution number 2022-67. Clerk, please read the caption.
A resolution authorizing and approving the sale by the city and county of Butte-Silver Bow of the real property described as Lot A-1 on Certificate of Survey and a portion of the Alvarado Load MS 8346 located in the southeast 1/4 of Section 4 and the southwest 1/4 of Section 3, Township 3 North, Range 8 West, PMM, with the city county of Butte-Silver Bow, Montana, to Steve and Mary Jo Stosich as joint tenants in accordance with the provisions of the Butte-Silver Bow Municipal Code and providing for an effective date herein.
Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I move to place resolution number 2022-67 on final reading and passed, having been deemed fully read at length.
We have a motion and a second for final reading. Is there anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yea, 0 nay.
9 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to Council Bill number 2022-12 and ordinance number 2022-12. Clerk, please read the caption.
An ordinance amending Title 15 of the Butte-Silver Bow Municipal Code entitled Buildings and Construction, amending Chapter 15.04 entitled Building Code, amending Chapter 15.05 entitled International Energy Conservation Code, amending Chapter 15.07 entitled International Existing Building Code, amending Chapter 15.12 entitled Sign Code, amending Chapter 15.14 entitled Mechanical Code, amending Chapter 15.15 entitled International Fuel Gas Code, amending Chapter 15.16 entitled Plumbing Code, and providing for an effective date herein.
Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I move to place Council Bill number 2022-12, ordinance number 2022-12 on final reading and passed, having been deemed fully read at length.
We have a motion and a second to place on final reading. Is there anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? Would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yea, 0 nay.
9 yea, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to Section 5, ordinance and resolutions for suspension of the rules for final passage. We have two tonight, resolution number 2022-68 and resolution number 2022-69. Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I moved for the suspension of the rules for the purpose of passing Council Resolutions number 2022-68 and Resolution number 2022-69 by waiving subsection 7 of Rule 36 of the Rules and Order of Business of the Council of Commissioners, thereby having it considered for advanced passage without reference to the Judiciary Committee.
We have a motion and a second for the suspension of the rules. Is there anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yeas, 0 nay.
9 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving back to resolution number 2022-68. Clerk, please read the caption.
A resolution requesting appointment of a special deputy prosecutor from the Office of the Montana State Auditor, Commissioner of Securities and Insurance, and providing for an effective date herein.
Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I move to place Council Resolution Number 2022-68 on final reading and passed, having been deemed fully read at length.
We have a motion and a second. Place resolution number 2022-68 on final reading. Is there anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change? Whoops, I'm a little jumpy. Would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yeas, 0 nay.
9 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to resolution number 2022-69. Clerk, please read the caption.
A resolution fixing a 1 mil tax levy for search and rescue operations for fiscal year 2023 and providing for an effective date herein.
Commissioner Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chief Executive. I move to place Council Resolution 2022-69 on final reading and passed, having been deemed fully read at length.
We have a motion and a second to place on final reading. Is there anything on the question? Could commissioners please vote? And would anyone like to change their vote? Clerk, please record the vote.
9 yeas, 0 nay.
9 yeas, 0 nay, motion passes. Moving on to calendar and other meeting events, please note the different meetings that we have and the dates that they're there. So next we'll move on to any public comment on any item not on the agenda tonight. If there is, please step forward, state your name, address, and what you'll be speaking on. Seeing none, it looks like we will take a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signal by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Have a great night.